Welcome to Speak Up, the sustainability podcast hosted by Apparel. I'm Michael Elias, CEO and co-founder of Apparel. The reason behind Speak Up is we want to take a step behind the scenes and have a look behind the scenes of organisations and brands, large and small, to discover their journey towards sustainability, understanding their why, their challenges, triumphs, and their plans for the future. In today's episode, we're joined by the founder and CEO of one of Apparel's earliest brand partners who have a seriously incredible story. After spending over a decade working in supply chain management and merchandising, they decided that the textile industry wasn't doing enough to provide sustainable bedding to the masses. And in 2014, they launched the lifestyle brand Ettitude, with a focus on creating the world's most sustainable bedding through innovative fabric technology. Without further ado, speaking up all the way from Los Angeles, I'd like to welcome Phoebe Yu, who's the founder and CEO of Ettitude. Welcome, Phoebe.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for having me.
So, Phoebe, for those that don't know, tell us all about Ettitude.
Yeah, pleasure. So, Ettitude started from Melbourne, Australia. I think at that time is really myself as that newly turned eco-conscious consumer, really looking at the old work I'd done for big corporations in the home space. It just really doesn't see that I have passion for that, non-sustainable products anymore. So I think I definitely learned about climate change and in Melbourne, working as for the Sustainable Living Foundation, working on the Sustainable Living Festival. So at that time, just as volunteer, is really impressed by first how much you can achieve through a non-profitable organization, self-organizing all these volunteers passionate about sustainability, but also learn so much about sustainable itself. So that's definitely when the idea came to me that I really need to develop or devote my time and effort to develop more sustainable alternative product. And again, as a new immigrant in Australia, of course, I need good home products. I need new bedding. And I looked at the choices on the market. There's just none exist, right? And so I think why it's not existing. There are, fabric technology at that time are ready to be utilized that are more sustainable. Why nobody's doing that? Then there's opportunity there, right? If nobody's doing that, but the consumer are looking for that, consumers might like myself, and I believe there are tens of thousands out there. So that's why the idea of Ettitude came to me, and why I named it the brand as Ettitude. That means ego attitude. So kind of from day one, that's the North Star, that everything we do in this business has to look through the sustainability lens, right?
I love that.
Yeah. It took me a month. We go through a lot of names, since none is like being just that's the one, and until I make up this word, like, okay, I like the word attitude. Like, you have to do things with a bit of attitude. Why this cannot be done, right? I'm gonna do this.
I love it. It's funny you say it took you a month. I think it took Tina and I probably about the same time for Apparel, which, funny enough, now is exactly, you used eco and attitude, and we've used, upcycling and apparel to combine into a word that we've made up ourselves, and hopefully we'll find that in the dictionary soon. So tell me about the product side of things. What is the key difference in the Ettitude product and the bedding product than other products out there?
Yeah, so I think it's really the main innovation is on the processing. So we use our patent-protected processing. It's a closed-loop production that to then dissolve the organic bamboo plant, which from a very hard plant, to get that fiber out, right? Using non-toxic chemicals, and also we recycle the water and also recycle this organic solvent within the system. So it's super water efficient. And also resource efficient. So everything is recycled within the system. And the final fiber itself is a very fine fiber, so that we'll be able to turn that into a high quality yarn and then weaving into different textiles. So it's a much cleaner process than the traditional rayon viscose of the world. So turning bamboo into textile has been done for 20, 30 years, but the older generation technology was just not there to also very cleanly process the bamboo into a textile, which is not good enough. Bamboo as a raw material is very sustainable. People know that for a long time, but they were worried about the rayon viscose processing. So that's why before the bamboo textile market just was not grow big enough because of the technology on the processing wasn't ready. And now we have this CleanBamboo way to process that in a much better way. So then I just like really, then that's when it's actually started to work. Yeah.
That's quite interesting. How did you find yourself? Because I think, with sustainability and, as a conscious consumer, doing something is always good enough.
Yeah.
You Ettitude and yourself, you've gone that extra mile and continued to innovate in that space of fabric composition, fabric cleaning and getting it right, getting it to a level where you can get it to where it's at today. Tell us about that journey and, was it something that you set out to do at the very beginning, or did you learn along the way?
I think I've definitely learned along the way. As I said, I have experience in the textile space, so I was always watching what's available there. Of course, the bamboo rayon viscose I've noticed before, but I just look at the processing. Well, that's not good enough, right? That's not something I confidently say I can just sell a lot because the process is still not there. Is there technology out there that was solving this problem? And then I find that, that's why it's also a patent protected one, because they have that innovation. They'd be able to patent it when I get a government and sustainability grant. I think from a young age, I'm a sci-fi fan. I want to be a scientist. That's when I was a teenager. Back in China, that time, the role model is female scientist. So I was a sci-fi fan. So I always believe using better technology to solve problem at scale, and also then give consumer a better experience, right? Consumer shouldn't sacrifice. Yes, what is sustainable is good, but the product has to work. Then it's up to scientists, up to technologists, up to entrepreneur to figure that out, to be able to address the problem at scale. So same as your apparel, like the textile recycle, right? It's the technology in this space is also getting better and better and better. So I'm really excited to watch like what's the develop in that space very closely.
Yeah, I think that's exciting for me, and why I was very keen to have you on the podcast was you're constantly innovating and looking at different ways to do things, and you've never really settled from the beginning. You never really settled on this is good enough, and how do we continue to innovate, evolve, and launch new products, and continue to make them better. Tell me, this is a really interesting one for me. So, Ettitude started. You've come from China. The mad scientist that's come from China into Australia, launched Ettitude, and now you're doing massive things in the US. Tell us about Ettitude and its journey from startup to where it's at today, being fully functioning and probably on its way to being bigger in the US than Australia. I'd maybe guess.
Yeah, we did, but I think just because this is a bigger market, there's more consumer here, so we definitely also grow fast in Australia still. So we have 12 people in Melbourne office right now. So keep growing the Australian team at the same time. I just think from day one, I want Ettitude to be an international brand, just by there's more visibility. In the end of the day, I think make more impact, because compare how much water our sheets can save and also how much less carbon emission we make. So if people switch to more using better sustainable alternative than cotton, it's overall make a big impact. So I just think the more visibility we have in the world is better. And also US just have 15 times more population there. So that's also a natural step for us once we really set our foot and running well in Australia to grow into this market. There's also, I think US and Australia all have great talent. So we'll be able to tap into different talent pool in the different regions, play on the talent strengths. Like Australia is really strong on marketing and design content. So most of our content developing a lot of marketing teams sitting in Melbourne, Australia, but US may be strong like on operation and other stuff. And
And what about the difference in consumers between Australia and the US? Obviously, population, we know that's 15 times greater, but is there a larger percentage, would you say, of conscious consumers in one versus the other, and who's moving ahead faster, who's looking for more solutions? Are you seeing the same type of response in the US as you had in Australia?
Yeah, I think overall it's a growth trend, but I think that's on par. But U.S. consumer, but also because it's very competitive e-commerce landscape here, they just have more demand on like very fast shipping because they've been spoiled by Amazon's free 2-day shipping,
Yeah.
or so less forgiving, I would say. Like you have to really be the top of the game on operation, but as well as the need for more sustainable products, I can see a similar demand, especially in bigger cities or coastal cities. That's
Okay.
definitely there's a lot of such consumer. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean the entering a new market. We've just launched New Zealand, and
Great, congratulations.
thank you. But extremely challenging in getting the right people. Getting the right people, surrounding yourself with the right people. Even just the whole setup stage, you need to have. I felt that we've needed to have someone really strong on the ground. What's the team in the US made up of, and what does that look like?
Well, so exactly, I think the first really instrumental team of the US is my US co-founder, right? She also a serial entrepreneur in the direct-to-consumer space, have a lot of experience. So the two of us definitely have complementary skills. And also then we start to build the US team in Los Angeles. Right now, I think the product team sit also in here, because close to me,
Okay.
because I'm still personal leading all our product development with our head of product. And also most of our operation team are sitting here, because also like operating at this very competitive direct to consumer company landscape, you need the talent, local talent, that have this experience or the network they can pull. So that's yeah, to have a very talented team is super
Yeah,
important.
absolutely.
Mm. Yeah.
Absolutely key to success in launching any market or any product in anywhere really. On the product side, I think this for me is absolutely for Ettitude is by miles leading this space in looking at any product or material as a resource at the very beginning of the life cycle, not just looking at recycling at the end, but kind of going all the way back to product. So what's the product suite today, and how are you categorizing future developments in product? I think I heard you mention something on a podcast you and I were sitting on months ago, which was you categorizing products around plant or earth, water, and something else. I can't remember. But what's happening in the product development space?
Yeah, so definitely, I think also our major competitive advantage is we're able to develop and bring to market more eco-forward textile. So definitely, yes, you remember correct. So there's different themes. So like bamboo is from the earth,
Yeah,
plant-based, and also going forward, we will have also our ocean-based concept. A couple of
exciting.
ocean themed super eco material we plan to bring into our textile offering, and then a circularity, full circularity collection, like use that concept. So that's from earth, from ocean, and from waste. That's
Love
the
it.
three major pillar. Yeah, but under each pillar, we will be able, because we come from innovate in the fiber level, then we can turn that into yarn and weave into different textile. But we'll be able to launch across our bedding, bath, sleepwear, loungewear, accessories, or even knit. So we'll be able to turn that into any textile.
So you've
Yeah,
got bedding, bath,
we have sleepwear currently.
sleepwear. Are you
Sleepwear,
looking at
yeah.
any other categories in that space, or?
Yeah, we're definitely looking into expanding the clothing offering a bit more. So the sleepwear is quite a success. People love it, but it's quite a traditional design of something you can only wear in the bedroom. But I think for sustainable is also to develop multi-functioning products that people can utilize in more scenarios. So we are just redesign this line, and we'll launch those new design early next year. So that's one thing. But of course, the other new textile I mentioned, that's all in the pipeline. But I cannot name exactly what they are.
So got to keep some things. Got to keep some things for show and surprise.
Yeah.
No, that's look for me. As I said, the product is amazing. I have the product myself. Some of the other areas, as a brand that you've looked at have been, and I know from when we, had our, socks and underwear products, it's not simply just about the product, the material itself, or the fabric and the composition, but it's packaging and replacing plastics with other materials. I'd love to hear some of the journey that you've been on. What you did at day one, and for those listening, what you did from day one in terms of presenting the product, and what solutions and what changes you've made along the way.
Well, I think so. Day one, I think we kind of maybe pioneered use the fabric left over to make the packaging bags, and then everyone follow that, because I just hate the plastic packaging. When I go to the department store, it's like all plastic. What's the point? That's not sustainable. So from day one, we use our leftover fabric to make into the packaging bag, and it's also look great. And people instantly, when they receive the product, it's also a good experience. They touch the packaging is this is so soft, and you open it the same color. And they can reuse the bag. I also believe reuse, so they love that bag. They can really reuse that as a laundry bag or whatever they want to use it.
It's great. It's great to fold everything back up when you need to and put it back in the in the cupboard. It's also folded and put away nicely. It's not just taking up 2 meters of cupboard space.
Yeah, I also bring my sheets with me when I travel, because I cannot sleep on other sheets now. So it's also handy, right? You put in there. So it looks good. It's actually save money. It looks expensive, but actually save money, because we're using, otherwise those fabric would go into landfill anyway.
Yep,
and they're too small. We can't really make that into products.
Yeah, they're
not
offcuts.
Big enough to make offcuts. So I think we did pioneer that, and every brand is doing that, which is great. And then going forward, for a while, we also was looking at then other packaging, like our mailers. I think there's also a learning curve. At the beginning, we think, okay, biodegradable mailer bag is good. Until then, one of our team members did a research, said, no, biodegradable is not necessarily good. It depends. Is that fully compostable? It's just industrial biodegradable, and people doesn't know how to treat it and just put in the landfill. It's too worse than good. So we're looking at maybe even go back to paper. Recycled paper is actually better than not truly compostable. But I think, so we are still finding that solution. And also our, before we use plastic snap on the duvet. And then we also don't like that, because our goal is to go no virgin plastic in all our products for start. And then we achieve that, and then no any plastic in our packaging.
Some of these things, when we did them, so we had a plastic pin that would hold the label to our socks and to the other side of the label. And, we were never retailing, physical retailing, and we realized we didn't need that. So we removed this little pin. But quite interestingly, we never made a big deal about it. It was just something that we did. We thought, well, why are we using this plastic? That was more of a personal thing. But when we let our community know, the response was overwhelmingly positive. Do you communicate a lot of this stuff that you do on the smaller scale back to your community?
Yeah, we definitely do. Like, we take out that snap for the duvet cover and change that into the Takua nut button. So people love it. First, it looks better, right? It looks more elevated look. And also we give people one additional, if they lose one, they can use it. And also that makes them can repair it. Before that, if a snap slipped, you can't repair at home in any way. So this product have to go to landfill, or they have to return to us. But now with the Takuma, but it's the button fall off, there's the additional one. They can sew it back on, right? So they can easily repair, or we can help them to repair if they don't know how to sew. So then that definitely keep the longevity of the product. It looks better. It is a little bit more expensive in this case, but I think overall, because people can repaired, there's less return rate or exchange on that. Overall, it still can make the business case that it's good for everyone, good for the consumer, good for the business, good for the planet. Yeah, so people love it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think if you're building, if you're designing a product that has longevity and designing a product to last a long time, a lot of people, it's not fast fashion. It's not fast bedding. But it's the reason behind it is so that it does last a long time. The repair model and the repair industry within the model and that category is absolutely blowing up. And I think anyone who is focused on sustainable solutions or being a conscious consumer is going, well, if it does break a button, this is not something that needs to end up in landfill. It's not something that you just discard off immediately. How do we fix it? And so that's a massively growing sentiment and focus with consumers. I'm just picking up on one thing. You travel a lot. You're never idle and never still. And you're carrying your sheets around with you. Are you so? Me as a being a sales and marketing person, I would walk into a hotel and say, hey, these are the sheets that I'm going to use on my bed. Do you want to buy some for your hotel? Are you doing much in the wholesale space?
Yes, right now, like 10% of our revenue come from more like wholesale business, but more, I think our online marketplace, like also sustainable focus, like the Groove Collaborative, which is more famous in the US. Here in the AU, we are on Iconic, we are on Flora and Funa, a lot of, brands also focus on sustainable. I think we're also on Qantas Points store.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So these type, I think more is less in the physical store yet, more as an online platform. And then we just ship directly from us to the consumers. In the US, we also work with a lot of subscription box, like the All True or Allen's Be Kind box that a lot of are also discovery, sustainable, ethical product focused, so help consumers to discover new brands. So they will also purchase our more smaller items like a pillowcase, eye mask to put in their boxes. They curate the box, right? And then send to consumer because, oh, Ettitude, this is nice fabric or what they're about. And there's a discount code there, then they can come back. So that's our current wholesale. But we do, as we grow, we do want to also be more in the physical retail space, work with value aligned retailers that
not Walmart then.
Well, not Walmart. So people can, when they walk around, they can touch the fabric, then they get it, right? Even online also we're pretty successful to convey how soft and breathable the sheets is with videos and photos, but nothing beats when someone touched the fabric. It's like, oh, I get it.
So I know from our recycling efforts that, we work with a number of large hotel groups and chains in the linen, cotton industry, whether it be towels, bedding, that type of thing, that they go through in an insane amount, thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands really of tons of bedding and linen in, hotel hospitality sector. Have you had any discussions in that space, and what are some challenges that you have with some of that type of wholesaling opportunity?
We did have those discussions before COVID, of course.
Yes,
during COVID,
course.
like
no hotels.
Not looking at buying anything.
Quarantine hotels.
But I think pain point is more maybe the cost, the price point, right? Because they are looking at like commercial level, like still the cost effectiveness probably is the first foremost what they look at, because they're turning over so much. So I think that's probably major, like prohibited. And also we still have so much way to grow in directly to consumer. So we're not actively seeking those, but we did open to, like, when they're more sustainable focus, hospitality group can pay a little bit more. That they can, so then obviously open to the discussion, because like I said, the more we can replace cotton, the better from an impact point of view. Yeah.
Well, if you ever need a business development manager to go around the Swiss Alps or south of France trying to sell it into hotels there, I'm a phone call away.
Yeah. All right. Good. That's good tips.
I wanted to ask about obviously the focus on design, product, distribution. That's all fantastic. Focus on reducing waste and creating longevity in product and circularity. It's absolutely at the heart and the base of everything you do. But there's also a fair bit that Ettitude and yourself do in supporting non-profits. And I'd love for you to share with everyone. What do you do in that space?
Yeah, first of all, we are a proud member of 1% for the Planet for over 2 years. So we donate 1% of our total revenue to environment-related charities. So, but of course, there's there's thousands of charity in there. But usually, we focus on those causes are close to teams and myself's heart. I think this year the bigger one is charity water, because we actually save so much water. So we also care about the water causes there. So there's water crisis. There's people who don't even have drinking water, right, in Africa. So it's building wells for them in remote area, and also carbon offsetting projects is also those causes we care about. I think there's a bamboo reforest project in Nicaragua we support. And also when Australia have the bushfire, we also donate for that cause. And also the Asian AAPI movements, because myself and also a lot of members of our team are in that community. So that's also a cause we care about. So these are the major causes very close to our hearts.
Yeah, no, I think it's important as a founder and as a CEO, you're kind of going, let's just support grassroots and what's important, what's been important to me and what I've been a part of from the very beginning, and how I can make a greater impact on bigger projects, which reforestation or regeneration of Nicaraguan rainforest and things like that, which just demonstrates that you're doing good, and good things come, which is important for every brand and every company and organisation now. I want to jump to our partnership. So Ettitude for us was one of our very first Upcircle partners. So Upcircle is our digital online recycling program, where any customer or anyone in the country can, in Australia and soon to be New Zealand, can jump online, recycle any old textiles, and they are rewarded with a voucher for doing so by Ettitude. Why was it important for you to partner with apparel?
Yeah, I think we are so glad that at the time we find that apparel is doing that, because we were trying to find such a partner for a long time, because we were aware of the textile waste problem. And of course, secondhand clothing, at least, like they can go through, there's some channel out there, but like linens really, like traditionally it's only go to landfill, like, or you donate to animal shelter, but it's just like not enough. We donate a bunch when there's bushfire for the animal hospital, but on a bigger scale, how we solve the textile waste, I just think if we can divert anything out of landfill, like either it's plastic or textile, it's always better. It's like, this is our home, Earth at home. You just don't dump and cover it and forget about it. It's not gonna work in a long time, right?
Agreed.
So we were wanting to find a partner to address this problem for a long time. So when my team, Sabrina, find you, I was so excited. So we are be able to even pilot that in Australia earlier than we find a partner in the US. So you are definitely leading the trend, right? Just not in Australia, is actually, I could say, in the international scale, that you're like 1 year early than other people are doing in that space. So we're really happy that we find you and be able to partner with you to address this problem together.
So what you're saying is once New Zealand has successfully launched and we've ticked all the boxes there, we'll pick this up and we'll open our facility next door to yours in the US, and we'll support you guys in the US.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean that's the plan. I mean, if we can do that, that'd be awesome. But look, on partnerships, obviously, we're one partner. From a business perspective, how important are partnerships to Ettitude? And what angles and what opportunities do you explore on the partnership side?
Yeah, I think we definitely think brand partnership is so important. As I said, sustainability is everyone's problem. Like, I don't think one brand, one person, like, or a little bunch of people could, make this work. It's really required. The more, the better. So more sustainable mindset brand can work together to move the needle, push the movement. That's important. Like, so that's how we see the partnership, and what I also see maybe in future. I don't know. Also, re-commerce is also, re-commerce or recycle and all this. Just let's try to make sure the less thing go into landfill, the better. So I'm not sure if that's on your roadmap at some stage.
Well, we'll be here and ready to discuss how we introduce recycled product once you complete your earth, water, and then circularity. We'll be here going, okay, now how do we turn these old Ettitude sheets into pillow filling? Which is, it's all part of, what a partnership really is and how you continue to grow on that. As always, Phoebe, I'm absolutely blown away with how, seeing the progress and journey that Ettitude has been on. What's the key for you and the team for the next 5 to 10 years?
I think we'll keep learning. I think sustainability is a very complex, also scientific-based topic. So the whole team, like, we're all eager to learn day in, day out, also maybe getting more advisors, so really to make sure we're onboarding also a full life circle assessment to make sure during our development, we out of the gate, we're doing the right thing, right? That's truly a low impact product. So I definitely think learning more on technology, on this newly development in the sustainable world, using, better way to solve the problem at scale is definitely our focus. And also at the same time, like, the company culture, like, even as we grow, the team grow also on 2 different continents, or maybe we'll have even team
somewhere else.
We don't know, maybe in some other places, right?
Yep.
But how to, like, keep that company culture, like, to itself, like, as the 6 top values we identify right now as this small team, but as we go, like, we never lose that. But I definitely believe that culture eat strategy for breakfast.
Yep.
Once you have the culture set right, the team just can do things right automatically. Just kind of, I kind of like use the analogy of sailing is okay. We have that. That's the direction. We all know that. But as the wind shifts, sometimes you might be flexible a little bit. But tacking around. But that the destination is there, is all very loud and clear. We are sailing that way, not any other way. So
are we going to see some new offices anywhere?
No, not. We're probably looking at the new RA office once in 2022 open more up. But we're looking at a company reunion. Like, a lot of team members haven't met in person. So, like, a company off-site, if we can. In 2022. We actually planned that in 2020, of course. That's gone.
The world
2021
changed.
is still not happening. So 2022, we'll see. But the team is getting bigger at the same time.
It's quite interesting. Over the last 2 years, we've had people, join the team who haven't met anyone else in the team in person for 10 weeks, which is just, it's mind blowing, and it's been an absolute challenge. But we got there in the end. Look, I want to say thank you so much for sharing with us, Phoebe. I think what Ettitude is doing is absolutely leading the way, and to your point, you've innovated many changes and launched and been the entrepreneur behind a lot of changes, including things like utilizing the bag utilizing the material the bedding is made out of to, create the packaging. And that's driven other brands and other organizations to follow suit. Obviously, people have seen what you've done in the fabric space, and what you've been able to innovate there, and said, we better step it up now, and we can't just keep doing what we were doing. And so, I hope you're very proud of everything achieved to date in terms of where you've gotten to Ettitude and the changes that you've been able to drive in other brands and other organizations. On a final note, thank you for always, for being, supporting apparel, since day one, and, driving a change in consumers with, creating awareness around recycling and items ending up in landfill. You've done that from the very beginning with your thought process and, consideration of product. So thank you. And it has been awesome to chat to you all the way in the US.
Thank you for having me.